And one of the lessons I cataloged was this lesson of keeping it real. This is what the world taught me. The real world taught me to keep it real. Now, some of you heard that phrase in hip-hop, they use it all the time, keep it real, but that's not what I mean. See, keeping it real is understanding what it takes to succeed as an adult. See, real is this. R, responsibility. E, endurance. A, assessment. And L, limitations. If you don't understand these concepts, you're going to have a hard time navigating your way through adulthood. See, the first thing we need to understand as young adults is responsibility, what it is, and what it means to us. If you don't grasp this concept, it's going to be difficult. Now, as parents, we're always trying to teach responsibility. But the challenge is some parents don't understand responsibility themselves. We all know people in our lives that are less responsible and more reactable. Now, what's reactable? They complain about the government. They complain about their boss. They complain about their job, not looking at themselves to see what are they doing to cause the situation. Now, how can this individual equip the young adult to prepare for their next challenge? All they keep doing is passing on the same bad habits from one group to another group. See, what I started to realize is responsibility is your ability to respond. You need to understand you have the ability to respond both positively and negatively in every situation you come across in life. You need to understand that you got total ownership of all the decisions and choices that you make. And those decisions and choices are going to shape the future and everything that you experience. See, as a person that's responsible, but the first thing you got to do is look at what you can control. A lot of times people are so worried about stuff they have no control over. See, in life there are two areas you can focus on. You can focus on things you're concerned about. You can focus on things you have control over. See, people worry all the time about stuff they can never do anything about. My goal and my aspect in life is to focus on what I can impact, and if I can't impact it, leave it up to God. See, you have to look at what are you doing to cause a problem. Everything we experience in life, you're either going to be the catalyst for it, or you're going to be a victim of it. I like to be in a position of power, so I'm always looking at what am I doing to cause this situation or to cause the problem. And then if I know what I'm doing to cause it, then I can look at what I can do to change it. Instead of complaining and blaming somebody else, we need to look at what we're doing with the situation and the issue and see how we can change the circumstances. So that's the first principle of real, responsibility. The second thing is endurance. This is the concept that's lost in our society. We want everything now. We have a microwave nation. Me too. Yeah. You just pop it in, press the button, 5 minutes later, dinner's done. See, I remember back in the day when Thanksgiving took all day long. Because Grandma started making them biscuits from scratch. And you was salivating, just thinking about it. Oh man. Next thing you know, we started going to instant bread mix. That's the whole thing all up. That's old school versus new school. We want things to happen today. I get a job, I should be the president tomorrow. No one wants to work their way up through the ranks. See, the endurance is something that's lost because things are happening so fast. You know, we look at our phones, if stuff doesn't take place in a minute, we're like, what's wrong with it? It's broke. It's not, it shouldn't be happening right now. But years ago, we had dial-up. Anyone remember dial-up internet? You had to wait, you had to wait, you had to wait. Now it's like we want to, like, I click on it. It should happen, it should happen, it should happen. We get conditioned to having everything happen immediately. Well, that's going to impact you dramatically when it comes to the real world. Because it takes time to build a career. It takes time to get educated. It takes time for things to manifest in your life. And you have to be willing to endure through the process. Know that today you're planting seeds for the future harvest that's going to come along. So I didn't realize that. When I got to the University of Delaware, I wanted to have fun. For the first time in my life, I had no curfew. My dad was going by some old school rules. He was like, you got to be in the house by midnight, because that's the way it was when he did it in like 1956. And I was like, it's different now, Dad. It's 1995. Things are changing. But I couldn't have no say because I was under his roof. So I had to abide by it. And I went to school. My mom and dad wasn't there. I could be out to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Do whatever I want. It didn't matter. If I didn't study, it didn't matter. The professor wasn't coming knocking on my door. If I didn't show up to class, remember where I was. They treated you as an adult. I didn't have the endurance to suffer through and make the sacrifices that I needed to make. So we have to know that today we're just planting the seeds for what's going to come in the future. That we can't expect the success results to happen instantaneously. Other thing is assessment. You have to evaluate and assess where you are in life. Where you are, where you're going, where you want to go, and how you're going to get there. Every year you should be looking back. How much progress am I making? What am I doing now that I might have to change, might have to adjust, and be willing to adapt your strategies, be willing to adapt what you're doing and adjust your course of action. For myself, I had to change majors. When I first went to the University of Delaware, I thought I wanted to be a chemical engineer. I didn't realize it required chemistry. Yeah. The first week of school, the professor was like, memorize the periodic table, which didn't make any sense to me because they wrote it down on paper. That's why I got to memorize it for. It's all on the wall. Like, we don't need to memorize it. But that's what they expected us the first year. I thought chemical engineering would be what I wanted to do because I looked at how much chemical engineers made. So I said, oh, they make $60,000. I want to be that. Not knowing what it took to be one. So I had to look at, okay, what am I really good at and adjust my major to things that really resonated with me. The other thing is limitations. See, when most people hear the word limitation, it has a negative connotation. But really, limitations is positive. It's all about self-discipline. Your level of self-discipline will govern the level of success you have in your life. Setting limitations is an exercise of self-discipline. First of all, you have to know your own personal limitations. What are you good at? What do you need help with? See, I was afraid to ask for help when I got to college. Because I thought if I asked for help, that would mean I wasn't smart enough. So I didn't get a tutor when I really needed a tutor. But we're not great at every single thing. Some of the classes are beyond our scope, beyond our knowledge, and you have to go out and get assistance. Also, you have to set limits and boundaries for yourself. Set standards you want to live by. You can't hang out with the same type of friends all the time. Once I got married, I couldn't have the single friends I had before. Because they had a different level of priorities than I had. Once I realized that I wanted to be more successful than some of my other friends, I had to limit how much time I associated with them. Because birds of a feather flock together. Your income will be set by the 5 friends you have. Because their level of thinking will determine your level of thinking. I had to also limit how much time I spent hanging out. See, we have to set all these boundaries, but before, when you were a child, who set them for you? Your parents. We take it for granted how much they influence everything that we do. And when they're gone and that voice is no longer there, you start to hear other voices. So if you don't start to put limits on yourself in terms of what you can do and what you're able to access, then those other voices will take over and you'll start slipping. Bad associations spoil useful habits. Someone might have heard that before. So if you hang around the wrong people, eventually they start to creep in and become the voices you listen to rather than the voices of your parents. So understanding these concepts of success when it comes to adulthood, responsibility, endurance, assessment, limitations, is really what you need to start to develop and implement in your life. Now, whether you implement them or not after today is all up to you. But what I've done is eliminate the excuse of saying I don't know. Because as an adult, you have a choice to do and not to do. But you got to remember, every choice you make today from this point on is going to be compounded over time. It's not what you do today, it's what you keep repeating over a course of time period that will determine the results you experience. So I hope this has encouraged you and given you a foresight of what's going to be coming next. Now, if you want a copy of this, I can email it to you. You can get my phone number, my email address. I can send you everything I just broke out. If you want to go read it all over again. It was my pleasure to share with you today. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. I do have some of my books on the back table, so if you want to get one of my books for some of the special students in your life, go ahead and do that. I highly recommend it. And remember just to keep it real. Okay? God bless.